Lebanon Board of Works meeting. Our first order of business will be the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, now move on to the roll call members. Madam Clerk, you call the roll, please.
Sir Dick Robertson,
Oh, I'm here.
Alan Milburn,
Present.
Matt Gentry,
Here.
Bill Stoner,
Present.
and Becky McClure is
She's excused.
excused. Thank you.
Okay. Next will be the approval of minutes from our previous meeting. Are there any changes to the minutes? Would entertain a motion concerning the minutes.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Motion approved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Minutes are approved. All right, on to department head reports. First up will be Police Department. Chief Morgan.
Good evening, board members. Since our last meeting in December on the 12th, the Lebanon Police Department has responded to 1,149 calls for service. A total of 24 people were arrested for the following crimes. 4 for operating while intoxicated, 10 were wanted on a warrant, 1 for domestic battery, 3 for possession of meth, 1 for possession of a syringe, 2 for driving while suspended, 1 for theft, 1 for resisting law enforcement, and 1 for battery on an officer. In that same time frame, LPD took 59 crash reports, and 2 handgun carry license applications were sent off to the state for final approval. And I also have numbers for last year. For 2022, Lebanon Police Department responded to 15,033 calls for service, and there were 541 arrests. On to training. Officers Nathan Hosfield, Gage Pettigo, and Easton Williamson, they started at the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy on last Tuesday, and we're hoping all 3 of them graduate on April 21st. Lieutenant Ben Phelps completed the Advanced Application of Heavy Vehicle Data course, which is a mouthful. This training is designed to improve electronic data recovery for crash investigators. It's like the airplanes that have the black box, your cars also have something similar that they can get information from. Then finally, Majors Hood and Mount attended the annual trainers conference at the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy. They discussed the new state policy on pursuits and a new policy that they're looking for use of force, that these policies are going to be statewide. We'll talk policies here in a little bit. That's all I have.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for Chief from the board? Anything from the public? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next will be Fire Department. Chief Batts.
Good evening, everyone. Since the last Board of Public Works and Safety meeting, Lebanon Fire has made 244 emergency calls of service, logged 484 training hours, hosted 1 CPR class, and completed 42 commercial inspections. The first board interviews for the current hiring process started today. We'll be completing those interviews tomorrow. Currently, LFD has 3 openings. Tonight at the council meeting, we will be doing a large swearing-in ceremony. Deputy Chief Robert Wiry came to me late last year and has decided on a retirement date, and that'll take place in January of 2024. He's requested to go back to the rank of battalion chief to finish out his tenure at Lebanon Fire. Lieutenant Jason Hendricks will be promoted to the Deputy Chief of Operations, and we will be swearing in 5 lateral transfer firefighters from the Center Township Fire Department. Deputy Chief Hendricks is beginning the implementation of our new ESO software. ESO will be used for fire reporting and scheduling. I've spoken with the trustees of Clinton and Harrison Township, and they're renewing their fire service contracts with Lebanon Fire for 2023. That's all I have for this evening.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for Chief from the board? Anything from the public? Thanks, sir. Thanks. Next is Parks and Recreation. John Messenger.
Good evening. All Christmas lights and scenes have been taken down, gone through. repaired and stored until next season. We've had several compliments on how nice the park looked this holiday season in downtown. I think we all agree it looked good. The guys did a nice job. Main event, carriages hosted 2 evenings of carriage rides around Memorial Park. That was done right after our event that we had, Christmas in the Cabin. It was well received. Rides were booked up quickly, and we hope to continue this again next year and possibly expand on it, maybe bring it down East Street downtown. But they really appreciated the business, and hopefully we'll do that. But they did it at night. It was really nice. I took a ride myself, by the way. We hosted our lifeguard recertification class about a week and a half ago. It was held at Lebanon High School pool. We're thankful for those employees that are coming back this summer. I think we had 8 that attended that. And the way that works is the initial certification, the kids are responsible for that. And then after 2 years, you have to recertify. You go through the CPR, defib, and also the lifeguard training, and we pay for that. And I think since they have 2 years in that we can do that. But it's quite an investment for them, but make sure they get all the training that they need and the requirements by the state. Hiring is now underway for the 2023 Seashore Water Park summer season. Yeah, hard to believe when it's 30 degrees out, but we are hiring for both lifeguards and concession workers. Applicants must be at least 15 years old, and starting pay is $10 an hour. Applications can be found on our website at LebanonParks.org, or you can stop by the office. We'll be hosting open interviews on Saturday, February 4th, as well as Saturday, March 4th. Those have been very popular, and we normally have really nice turnouts for those. We'll be posting more information on those days in the near future. Our maintenance department is also, we're hiring for that, and the starting pay is $38,000 per year. Applications can be found on our website or by stopping in on our office. You can also give our office a call for more information. Sure would be nice to have a little electrical or plumbing that as well. That would be nice to have those skills. Park programs, our blanket fort building contest was a hit over winter break. Had several entries, and it was a tough decision for our park staff to decide on a winner. The guys all get together, we vote on them, and it was pretty tough. Ultimately, the Lewis family won. Again, thanks to all who participated, and we look forward to doing this again next year. And we hope to post about our snowman building contest. No, yeah, I did it again, didn't I, Matt? There you go. Building
I don't
contest.
like that one, John, because
I
it
did it
means
last
we
year.
have a
What
lot
did
of
we
snow.
get? 9 inches or something, yeah. Be on the lookout for more information regarding that contest. I did it, didn't I? If you look
It's
at the next
ongoing,
2
isn't it?
weeks, so it's gonna be 50 degrees, we're good.
That's why I like it. There we go.
That's an ongoing contest whenever it's.
Yeah, if we know.
Get out
yeah.
there quick, right?
Yeah, that's right. There you go. That's all I had.
Any questions?
Get it posted, right?
Or just no snow, that's fine.
He got me last year, same thing. I said that, and we got 9 inches or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Silly, yeah, it was ridiculous.
Any questions for John from the board?
No questions.
Anything for the public? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, next up, Engineering Department, Kevin Krulik.
Thank you. Good evening. Engineering report for tonight. I know it's winter, thanks to John, but we are getting ready for our street resurfacing program. Never too early to start. In fact, you know, as you might recall, we had 12 streets on the list totaling a little over $2 million, 2 miles for this year. Bid award was made to the Howard companies for a little over $850,000, and we actually have executed those contracts, and they want to get started right away. We held a pre-construction meeting last Friday. They'd like to get started while the concrete availability is good and get the sidewalk ramps in and complete. Especially if we've got temperatures in the 50s, they're going to try to take advantage of that over the next couple of weeks to get some of that work done. And then they would anticipate March, April, sometime in that time frame, coming in to do the resurfacing work. Again, $850,000. We received community crossing grant to cover roughly $340,000 of that. And and we are working on closing that gap in our funding. Right now, we're looking at the LRS and MVH funds for this year, also some MVH restricted funds that we've been saving up. And we're still a little bit of a shortfall, so we'll probably be looking at some of the community capital improvement and development monies that we have on hand that will help cover that in order to really lighten the burden on the street department so that they'll still have a adequate fund available for ongoing maintenance issues that inevitably come up every year. So that's moving forward. On that note, though, street department supply bid awards were also made since the last meeting. We've got asphalt materials to Triangle, as well as some winter mix materials to Milestone and Central Paving, and then concrete removal and replacement work for next year set to go to Wilson Construction. Updates on some other projects around town. The Whit Road Bridge, remind everyone, we had 128 days of liquidated damages, and those were agreed to and billed to us negatively by the contractor on 12/9. We've made those final payments or processed all those final payments. Final punch lists have also been delivered. This is all work that would be expected in the spring as we get into warmer weather. We have also filed our community crossing closeout reports as well. Moving forward, we have a one-year maintenance period that the contractor is required to provide, and we will stay on top of them for that work. Other projects associated with that, the Whit Road road reconstruction project, the federal aid award for 2027 is moving forward. Happy to report that as of today, we received our NDOT LPA contracts, so we'll be getting those fully executed and put in place with our purchase orders into NDOT so that we can have the funds and start issuing notices to proceed to our engineering firms. On that one, it is American Structure Point for all the right-of-way and preliminary engineering associated with the project. Phase 2 of the project, which is takes off from where Phase 1 ends at Austin Drive, or a little north of Austin Drive, and goes up to 250 North. Again, that was submitted for the 2028 call for federal funding, and we had our grant interview on that on January 3rd, so about a week ago. No, I don't anticipate anything on that award probably for 2 or 3 more months. Having the interview doesn't mean anything, just so you know, they interview everybody, so they interview all applicants. Elmwood Bridge, this project, unlike our other bridge project, is really going extremely well. Remind you, that's a 2022-01 community crossing funding. Total construction project was about $630,000. We have completed the pours on the deck, the approach slabs. 1 drive was poured today. There are 3 total driveways that we have to reconstruct, and the other additional dry pours are expected for tomorrow. Again, taking advantage of this warm weather, decorative railing pours are being formed up and scheduled for later in the week. Once the decorative railing pours are complete, we will be able to open that to traffic. I'm going to say cautiously, sometime in the next 2 weeks, we'll have that open to traffic. Hopefully sooner, but let's say 2 weeks as we stand here tonight.
Kevin, can I ask a question on that?
Yeah.
The driveway of the property owner who agreed for the access to be able to get in and when that bridge is closed, is that driveway going to be paved at some time or is it just going to be left gravel?
No, it will be paved. It's actually concrete now. It might look a little messed up because of all the construction traffic and the gravel going in and out over it. That is actually a 4th driveway that we will be repouring. That it's not part of the bridge scope of work, but to better accommodate the project, to avoid the need to track all the way through Uland to get to a construction staging area that we had originally anticipated in bid being in the park. We were able to work out an agreement with that property owner to allow us to stage construction right there, and I think it's worked out really well. I think we've had no complaints from any of the residents of Uland or Elmwood, but in in sort of as concession to allowing us to use his front yard for construction staking, we're obviously going to need to restore his front yard, and we're going to help reconstruct a portion of his driveway. He was already planning to re-pour his driveway before he moves in, as he's doing some whole house renovations there, and we're going to take care of that front part adjacent to our construction laydown yard, not till spring. Once we hit warm weather, we won't try to force that in this cold month, but yes, we will be taking care of that driveway
Thank
as
you.
well.
Yeah, I have a question. I noticed 2 or 3 of the other homeowners that have drives that go all the way through, did they buy gates there to close them?
They did. I don't know that it necessarily was because of this project, but yeah, over the last, really, I noticed those gates didn't really show up till the last couple of years. I'm not for sure what prompted that, other than I'm sure people don't like neighbors and delivery men, and if I had to speculate, I would guess, we get so much delivered to our homes nowadays with Amazon and other delivery services that that was probably the culprit in causing people to want to shut their driveways down. But I don't know. But I have noticed some new nice gates showing up there along Elmwood Drive. So I think that's everything on the Elmwood Bridge. Again, open to traffic in the next 2 weeks. Things are going very well there. Very pleased with the quality of construction as well. Grant Street project, we're in the middle of our winter shutdown work, but we're already doing some tree clearing to get ready for the spring. There's been a large tree we've had to take down, so it's a multiple day operation. That started last week. We'll wrap up towards the end of this week. We also had a complaint about a sump pump problem. We got contractors in there that week after Christmas to investigate that. Didn't want to leave any of our residents in a bad situation with some rain coming in. Happy to report, we did solve the problem for the homeowner. It was not caused by us, but we went ahead while we were there and had it open and fixed, a blockage and a low spot in their sump pump. So hopefully that clears things out for them. And, it's an easy thing for us to do, just to make sure that everyone's covered and things are working well. And with all the construction there, we felt we had a need to bring a crew in to make sure that we hadn't caused any undue damage. Phases 2 and 3 are scheduled to start up this spring, scheduled to start up 1st of April and run through the end of October. Phase 4, which is the intersection of William and Ann Street, that will be next summer after school is out. Nothing new here, just reminding you of those dates. We're also waiting to hear from CenterPoint Energy, formerly Vectren. They're looking at options to vacate the high-pressure gas main that runs through there. We're very hopeful that we'll be able to get to that point and remove, a rather aging and potentially dangerous piece of infrastructure that goes through that area. I know I'll feel better if we had that out of the way. Grant Street Phase 2 is out there as well. We also received those NDOT LPA contracts for right-of-way earlier today, and we'll be putting all that into place and getting that project going. Reminding you that's a 2027 letting for that federal aid project as well. Fordyce Street is still out there as well. No real changes there, that we have been working diligently with the school district and the school corporation, to make sure that coincides with their new elementary school that is proposed there at John Bart and Fordyce. All right-of-way acquisition is complete at this point, and we're just getting set up to be ready to bid that project for 2024 construction. So 4th quarter this year, we'll be putting that out to bid. Big Four Trail Rural Section, remind everyone that a bid award was issued to Reith Riley for $2,276,325.26. Working through that with them, not for sure on what a start date will be, probably not till later in the spring. On that note, the East Street Trail, the lighting on the East Street Trail, the pole bases started going in last week. They continue to go in this week. I'm told that we should see light poles being stood up sometime by the end of the week and energized in the next couple of weeks. But things are progressing there. And heard nothing but good things from the residents and the neighbors that live along that area. They're looking forward to some new decorative lighting. Bike park, lots of things starting to gear up on the bike park. We're nearing the completion of earthwork donation commitments from Newcold. Expecting those this week, expecting them to start hauling and doing some mass grading work for us on site at their expense around the 1st of February. We've got our READY grant that's been out there for a while. We had a $750,000 award that came in towards the end of the summer. We're just trying to document our financial commitments, both from the City of Lebanon, which will be on the agenda for the City Council later tonight, as well as Newcold is expected to make a written commitment to us this week as well. And that will document everything we need on the READY grant that we received. Plans are still in at IDEM. Remind everyone they've been in since September. We were expecting comments or approvals in December. Have not seen anything yet, so any day now, hopefully we'll see something from our friends at IDEM. Board of Works, remind you, has issued authorization for an RFP for a construction manager. We are tentatively set to go before the Park Foundation Board in February to ask for their blessing to move that forward as well. Happy to report one really good bit of news there, that officially, we've been working with Peoria Nation for a number of years, since early 2020, but as of December 6th, they made it official, issuing their written support for the use of Chief Stoneater's name and their support for the project and that dedication that came through on December 6th. So that is all official now. They've always been giving us the go-ahead to move forward, but this was the next step, taking this to their business committee and getting that, the nation to formally adopt that resolution. Total budget still stands based on the pricing that R.L. Turner helped us put together at $3.15 million based on those October pricings that we put together. Right now, I think the big pots of money that are involved is $500,000 from our rescue plan money. There's a balance in our sanitation fund of $950,000. There's the READY grant, as I mentioned, for $750,000. We've raised about $200,000 in various sources, but of that fundraising, only about $30,000 is real cash donations towards the park. So that totals about $2.2 million. So we're a little short there, but we'd like to go ahead and make the financial commitment to match dollar for dollar the $750,000 READY grant, and that can be accomplished through sanitation funds and the ARP money that we've already put in place. And then we can talk later about how we fund a potential gap there and how we look at future phases of the project as well. But for right now, we'd like to go ahead and move the READY grant documentation through and continue our work to fortify the cap and move the bulk earthwork in and stabilize the site. Active living programs, just a quick update. We will be issuing a cost share program again this year, so look for that opening up soon. Road impact fee ordinance, so we haven't talked about that in a while, but that is in place, and our review committee will actually be hearing their first appeal here shortly associated with the Newcold Phase 2 project, which is based on existing operating experience that Newcold is presented us with, which is good because that facility doesn't fit into your standard sort of trip generation model, so we anticipate full support of their appeal. And also, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that we do need to think about an update to our road impact fee ordinance. I know I said it would be 5 years, but 2 years ago, we didn't know that we'd be looking at projects like Lilly and the LEAP District, and we need to make sure those impacts are properly addressed in our road impact fee ordinance and our zone improvement plan, so that'll be something that will be coming before you and the council in the coming weeks, but just to prepare everyone for that. Regional detention, I report we had our drainage board hearing with the county on December 28th at 10:30 a.m. All went well there, but that was an important step in having that hearing so that we can construct this as a legal drain reconstruction that opens up the reimbursements from the state highway department as well as CSX. last but certainly not least, our inspection department. In the last 2 weeks, or since the last meeting on the 12th of December, we conducted 11 SWIP inspections, followed up on 1 drainage complaint. We've also completely updated our MPDES permits and done 10 right-of-way inspections. Lots of projects going on that Scott is working on. I won't bother listing all those off, but our construction really hasn't slowed down even through the winter, especially with this warmer weather. Other than those 4 days before Christmas, contractors are still out working and working hard. So any questions I can answer?
Any questions from the board? Any questions from the public? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, next, Planning Department, Ben Bontrager.
Good evening, board members. Planning Department report this evening. Over the last, since the last meeting on December 12th, we did complete another 113 building inspections. So given the fact there were 4 holidays in that time period, we're still averaging about 7 or 8 inspections a day. So even though we're theoretically in the wintertime slowdown, like Kevin just said, there's still a lot of construction activity happening. We can verify that with the number of inspections we're doing. We did also issue another 41 permits, including 4 new residential homes over the last 4 weeks. So again, still seeing strong activity there. On the commercial side, we did issue 1 new construction permit, and that would be for the Lebanon Fieldhouse project. So as you know, there's obviously been a lot of earthwork and foundation work going out there, but we did issue the permit for the vertical. And my understanding was that either late last week or first part of this week, the steel was going to be delivered for that building. So we should start seeing things going up pretty quickly there on that building. 2022 year-end totals. As I mentioned, I was expecting a record year for single-family permits. So in 2022, we issued single-family permits, 125 for the year. In 2021, we issued 67, so almost double what we did in 2021. Our highest year
You said 67 and
67 in 2021, 125 last year. Our highest previous year was 78 in 2019. So again, a really good year, and that's even considering the fact that towards the end of the year, Sunbrook and Sunbrook Villas were basically our only neighborhoods that were pulling permits. So I know I saw an email earlier today that Fisher Homes is desperate to get their Section 2 recorded. My guess is they probably got most of those lots taken down already. They're going to pull a whole bunch of permits for Section 2, just like they did in Section 1. So good, strong year last year. I expect to see that to continue going into, obviously, 2023. On the multifamily side, I think that's technically the permit for the Brakeman Building was issued in 2022. So we did have the 44 units for the Brakeman Building issued last year on multifamily. Commercial industrial, a total of about 750,000 square feet in terms of permits was issued for commercial and industrial, highlighted by, again, the field house, and I think there were 3 different industrial buildings in the industrial park. That was probably 2/3 to 3/4 of that square footage between those 4 projects, and then you had a scattering of other smaller projects that were in there as well. And then just kind of a quick summary of some of the fees we collected. I say general fees, that would be any fee we collected that did not go to a specific pot of money like road or park impact or stormwater review or fire department review. About $287,000 last year we collected in permit fees. And just by comparison, the year previous was about $222,000. So again, about 30% increase in the fees, again, just representing a 30% increase in activity. On the road and park impact fee side, road impact, we did collect about $95,000 over the 6 months that it was in place last year. Then park impact fee, which was in place for the entire year, about $156,000 was collected in 2022. So again, really good year there for both of those funds, and expect to see a lot more this year with some of the road impact fee calculations we got coming up that are in the works. Kind of on the administrative side, we did have approval in the budget for this year to hire an additional administrative assistant to help Christy out. We have not advertised that yet. We'll be working on it here in January to get that job description put together and get that out so we can start getting that in the works. Coupled with that, we've also hired Browning Day, an architectural firm, to help us figure out how to make space for all these people that we're going to putting in our office. And we have the admin starting, and then also in anticipation of the judge wanting his or her chambers back in 2024, we've got to move Matt and Makeda out of that office. So we've got 3 people I got to find space for over there, in addition to just anticipation of needing to add to both our and the engineering inspection staff in the next couple years, of creating more space for folks like that. So Browning Day, we've got under contract to put together construction documents for some of the plans we have for our space across the hall in order to do that. So we've got them under contract. Hopefully, we'll have some plans within the next 2 to 3 months. We'll be looking to come probably to the council for funding at some point in late winter, early spring, to be able to get some of that work done. It's not terribly extensive, but there is a little bit of construction have to be done. So just some administrative things. On the code enforcement side, again, continues to see strong activity throughout the winter, but I do have some year-end activities for you. Certainly in terms of total investigation activities, our strongest months are obviously during the summer when grass and weeds are higher. Certainly see some slowdowns in the early spring and winter time related to that. But then looking at total complaints, our highest number of complaints were related to weeds and grass this year. And my understanding is junk and trash was the highest for the year previous. So again, just kind of flip-flop there between junk and trash and weeds and grass. Third highest was then junk vehicles, and it drops off quite a bit from there. In terms of number of complaints, just a comparison year over year, from 2021 to 2022, we saw a slight drop in junk and trash and a slight increase in weeds and grass. So I guess everybody was just picking on weeds and grass this last year. And then junk vehicles had probably the most notable drop that we saw. And I don't know if that's necessarily because we had less junk cars, but in terms of being able to address them, we had a little bit of changes in how we were addressing them too. So again, just things we're just trying to track year over year to see what's in terms of activity. Then the final thing, and this is the most important, this is the abatement rate of the number of cases that we had. How many of them remain open at the end of the year. And we had 422 total cases last year, 96% of them were abated. We have 19 cases left open at the end of the year, and 9 of those came in the last 2 weeks of the year. So really, we only have 10 open cases we're still working on. So again, very good success in terms of our process now, getting abatements on any of our open cases. So it's a quick summary of planning and code enforcement activities for the year, but I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Thank you, Ben. Any questions for Ben from the board? Anything for the public? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next is Street and Stormwater Department, Dave Newell.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing good.
I'm not going to talk to Messenger till after Christmas, or after the winter, but we'll figure that out later. We've been out fixing some potholes with our winter mix asphalt patch, so if you see any, please give us a contact at 765-482-8870. Even if it's alleys or something, we try to attack those pretty good in the winter too, so we definitely, I know they had a list today they went through, so hopefully we're staying on top of that. We are still out picking up Christmas trees, just put them between the sidewalk and curb and we'll grab them. Just please make sure they don't have any decorations on them or the lights. That's off so we can send them through the chipper. We have a few people that pick them up and throw them in their ponds for the fish spawning, I guess, so we have that going on too. This stormwater side, they have repaired a couple catch basins with everybody's talking about the weather being nice. They were able to get out and repair a few, so hopefully it stays nice. We can start some other projects we were kind of putting off till spring, so we'll have to just play the weather and see. An update on the new street department. The water is still about 70 to 75% complete. They're waiting on some parts for the vault out in the road, and then I think they'll pretty much wrap that up other than connecting everything inside the building. But the fuel canopy is complete. They're just waiting on the slab and wall to continue in the spring. The concrete curb paused till spring, obviously, from anything, pretty much everything outside's paused. The salt storage is on hold till spring. The building has been delivered, obviously. The roofing and siding is substantially complete. Canopy and trims are ongoing. The exterior walls, CFS framing's complete and sheathed and all that. Looking really good. Exterior storefront, the framings and glazing's substantially complete as well. The canopy and trims is ongoing. Our exterior walls are complete. The sheathing's complete as well, and the floor pouring started today, so they're doing that in 3 pours. I think it's, I want to say 400 and some yards of concrete. They did 60, I think, today, or 50. I think it's 50, so that's quite the process to watch. So it's going good, though. I'd like to thank the guys that were out on Christmas Eve weekend. Thank goodness we didn't get the snow everybody thought we was going to get, but still with the cold temperatures and the winds, we still have fought it a little bit. just most of it was cold temperatures. You just can't bring the asphalt back with that. Only real problems we had was out at 400 a little bit where the winds was open fields, just drift a little bit, but we maintained it and got it open like we always do, so it wasn't a big deal. Had a couple cars stuck, that was it. We are opening up a training and safety position, which Bob Stevens is taking over for us, so, we keep getting bigger and bigger, and we got all these new people, and it doesn't hurt. We're all the time doing training, so we opened up a spot for him just to add to his salary a little bit, but basically he's always taking people and remind them how the chipper to shut off all the safety stuff, just simple stuff. So as we're getting bigger, we just want to stay on top of that stuff, cut down on our injuries at work, and so we're hoping that goes good, and Bob's really excited about it, and that's about all I got.
Thank you, Dave. Any questions for Dave from the board? Anything for the public? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And last but not least, Communications and Community Development, Joe LePage.
Good evening. I'd like to begin with a recap and then get into an update if I may, if that's okay. First off, the recap, and it begins with the Text My Gov feature that we rolled out and talked about last month on the 12th of December. Put the promotional materials that you'll see, you may have seen online and things like that across our community. You can start the text service by texting 91896, and you can type in Lebanon, Lebanon City, Lebanon Events, Lebanon Parks, and Lebanon Projects to get various info throughout our community. And so that's a great first step with our Text My Gov feature. And I want to, and this is on live TV, so this is going to go really, really well. I'm going to show you the second phase of what we're going to do. And this is my phone right here. There is another communication tool that we're going to use within our community for residents out there. This is part of our Text My Gov free service. If you text hi, the word hi, to 765-978-3553, and again, hi, you should get a prompt, and it takes just a little second here to send it to the Text My Gov folks, and you'll be able to hear back from them, and here's the message that you will receive. So you typed in hi, and the Text My Gov feature will ask you what information you'd like from the Text My Gov portal, and it will send through, and it will send you a thank you for contacting the City of Lebanon to report an issue. You can type that issue: pothole, code, traffic light, stop sign, trash pickup. If you have a question, you can text one or two keywords about the information you're looking for. If you don't find what you're looking for, it gives you there the text alerts. And is that out of focus? You guys see that okay? Is that out of focus? You see it? Okay. And so what we're going to do there is we've highlighted and gotten some keywords in to better communicate with our community. When we had the severe weather that went through, Waste Management had a hard time getting to some trash, and there was some calls that came flooding into the mayor's office. Tanya, I think you guys got some in Clerk Treasurer's. Upstairs we got it as well. We would love to make Text My Gov the one-stop shop, and so you can actually text, and we can go back and forth with our constituents, again, free of charge, minus text rates that are there when you text anyone, be able to correspond with our residents to better kind of solidify and get things all aligned rather than having you call and wait for a call and those things. It happens real time. And so that will be distributed to the correct department. You can, in the case of code enforcement, it aligns rather well with what's going on right now with our code enforcement. So it's a concept that marries real well with Text My Gov with iWork. It's all one on our website, and so it goes to our code enforcement department. It also provides follow-up to the mayor and also department heads. And so if there is a pothole and Dave gets the information where the guys should have gone out and done it, and it's taken a little while, we have real-time ways to track information throughout our community. And so this is a free service to be able to participate. All you have to do, again, is text hi to 765-978-3553, and that's what has the back and forth, or you can text 91896, and you can type those 5 keywords that we have to be updated. And so folks that, for example, Lebanon City, those that corresponded to that Text My Gov feature were updated and got the agendas for tonight's meetings. Board of Works, City Council, they were also notified that our redevelopment commission was canceled for tonight because of a lack of agenda. All that goes out via text, goes to you, it's free, goes right to your phone. There's no reason not to know what's going on within our community. Speaking of knowing what's all going on within our community, wrapped up the video portion of the video work for the promotional video for Lebanon Police Department. Some tweaks and edits on images and also copy need to be added, awaiting direction from LPD to see what is exactly done there. Also, in the past month, able to highlight our Lebanon Fire Department, our street team, and also Stone Eater Bike Park as part of our regular monthly updates. Website work, regular posting takes place, but also another city feature, our city event calendar, and this will be featured in Boone County Magazine coming up in February. It highlights events citywide, and so making a web page as we speak, not as we speak, I've been doing that earlier today, but it'll be a one-stop shop for city events, and so there'll be a QR code associated with that where you can go and see a real-time calendar of events throughout our community, both large and small, ones that you may know back to the 50s and ones that are just beginning or in year 2 or year 3. We've asked for submissions from the public for their respective events, putting them on free of charge, so it is promotion, and again, a one-stop shop for whatever's going on within Lebanon, because it's not just downtown, it is all over our community. Our city really knows how to throw a really good party, and so we want to be able to have those different events highlighted and marketed well. And so if there's an event that you'd like to have highlighted, shoot an email, some details, a logo perhaps, an event link is always helpful if you have tickets involved with that, at loveandlebanon.in.gov. That's an email address. Just send it, and it'll get added to our website, and again, begin to be featured in our quarterly updates we do with Boone County Magazine, but that goes off in February.
Thank you, Joe. Questions for Joe? For Joe?
Joe,
Or Dick?
do you have any idea how many people are connected to the texting section?
I actually do. I can run downstairs, and if you give me 10 minutes here, I can pull it up on my phone, and we can get a dashboard of people.
Just give me a guess.
Okay.
I was just thinking that it would probably be easier directions. I think they're on the website, I'm sure.
They are. Now, this second part was just one that we're starting today. We didn't want to flood everybody by saying, this is how you get the updates and this is how you correspond. So we went one step is just getting the updates. So all the street closures and things with severe weather, that was kind of step 1. Step 2 is rolling out that back and forth feature where folks can get involved with code enforcement and reporting issues with trash, things like that. But it'll all be out on now that both kind of arms are out there, it'll be out, you'll see it more on our social media platforms and the paper as well.
Well, I was just thinking if you sent a flyer out with the utility bill to let everybody know how to connect to, directions on how to connect and so forth, and a contact that might help.
Yep,
get more
for
people
sure.
involved, so. So
Yep.
I think it's a great idea, so.
Joe, would you repeat, I have the 9783553, but I missed a couple of numbers there.
Gotcha. It's area code 765-978-3553.
I got, that's it.
And
Thank you.
again, all you have to do, you can start off the conversation by typing in code, and so they'll give you prompts about code enforcement. Oh geez, it's a code enforcement issue. You can type in grass, and it'll say, where are you talking about? So you can send a picture, you can send an address, and it goes to Matt and Makeda. They're in the code enforcement department, so they can see it, it's right there, and it gets the ball rolling that way. Or if you're not exactly sure which department, you can start off the conversation by typing in hi, then it'll ask, what can we help you with? And so you can go from there and then correspond with that department head in a timely manner.
Any other questions for Joe? Anything for the public? Thank you, sir. All right, that concludes department head reports. Move on to old business. Nothing on my agenda. Oh, Chief?
Just wondering if I could have a moment before
Sure,
we
yeah.
moved on to Chief Morgan and his policy request. I wanted to talk to you a moment about the Lebanon Police Department. And many of the things that we see in mainstream media is very cynical and very negative towards our brothers and sisters in law enforcement. Last Friday evening, both police, fire, and EMS were dispatched to a very serious traumatic accident here in Lebanon. And I was in the area and I marked en route along with law enforcement. I pulled one ambulance and one fire truck. And as I arrived on the scene, it was a traumatic accident and there was witnesses involved. And I can't say enough about the compassion of our Lebanon police officers to the victim. They were administering life-saving interventions as I arrived on the scene. The officers that were not only doing that, they were consoling the family members that were in the area. And as I got to the scene, they were explaining to me what happened so I could start my medical interventions. And this is not an isolated incident for the Lebanon Police Department. It's really not. They are dispatched on pretty much every fire and EMS call in the city of Lebanon, and they care. And they cared for this individual that was injured, and they showed compassion to the family. And I just wanted to take a moment and share that with you. It seems like law enforcement just takes a beating in the media, and it's so one-sided and it's unfair. And they don't get to see, the public doesn't always get to see the side that we see and the compassion that those individuals have. And I'm just very proud of our police department. Even today, we had a chimney fire, and law enforcement was dispatched to it. We had a very distraught husband and wife homeowners. You know, they were afraid that their home was going to burn down. And the whole time, the law enforcement just consoled them and let them know that, you know, they have support, they're there. And then when it was all over with, the law enforcement officer didn't just leave. He came to me and said, "Hey, Chief, is there anything else I could do for you before I leave?" So I just wanted to take a moment and share that with you before Chief Morgan comes up and asks for the policy change.
Well said, thank you, Chief, especially on Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. So thank you, sir. We're actually going to sneak in John Messenger first. So we're going to surplus some mowers, I believe. John?
Yes, good evening. I have two Toro Z 72-inch cuts diesel mowers that I'd like to surplus. We'll be trading them in at soon, so I just wanted to surplus those two. They're 19 or 2019, oh geez, 2021 year.
Okay. Any questions for John on those?
Filled out the surplus equipment forms, and they are for trade-in on new units.
Yes.
Okay, we'll entertain a motion to surplus the mowers.
I make a motion, we surplus the mowers.
We have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alan. Let's hear say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, those are approved.
Thank
John?
you.
Okay, next up will be the policy change for the Lebanon Police Department. Chief Morgan?
Before I start on the policy, I wanted to say thanks to Chief Batts. I teared up back there a little bit. And then we also, this will make you happy, Mayor, the Crown Vic that we have still,
Yes.
I think we're ready to surplus it.
Good.
So I will get with Bill.
What year is it again, Chief?
I'm sorry?
What year is it again?
I'm not sure. Okay. I'm not sure. It's
Wait a
older.
minute, am I hearing something that you're saying about surplusing that finally?
About surplusing what?
Ready to let it go?
Finally, he said finally.
Finally,
Ready
yes.
to let it go? Okay.
Are you sure?
Don't question him, it's all right, he's going for it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's time.
Okay, I'll get with you.
Okay. So, you guys have already approved the vehicle pursuit policy that Lexipol sent us. But if you didn't know, the state, the Law Enforcement Training Board established a uniform statewide policy on vehicle pursuits that every department in the state has to at least abide by that. That's a minimum standard. Our policy, well, as you can see, I think it's, 13 pages long, and the one that the state put out is 7 or something like that. So ours is more comprehensive and restrictive than what the state put out, but they did that because there's a lot of smaller departments that don't have a pursuit policy at all. So the state put a minimum out for them to have to follow. So, like I said, there's 13 pages here. I don't think you guys want me to read all 13 pages. So I'm going to go through like we have in the past and just hit the changes and try and explain what they are. So it starts on page 7. And down at the bottom, item H, it says, ensuring that the patrol captain is notified of the pursuit as soon as practicable. It used to say command staff. That's the only difference on that one. Command staff would be the administration. So if we switch over to page 8, subsection 307.7.1, under responsibilities. So upon notification or becoming aware that a pursuit has been initiated, the dispatcher is responsible for the items below. Now, if you guys don't know, LPD does not have its own dispatch. The county dispatches for us, so we have no control over what they do. But that change in there covers everybody. Then if you go down to item F, notifying the patrol captain, and I wanted to make that a change to or supervisor, because we don't always have captains working the road. That's why we have lieutenants and sergeants. So that got missed, and when after I sent it to you and I proofread it again, I noticed that. So I want to have Lexipol write in or supervisor as soon as practicable. And then moving on to page 9, subsection 307.9.1, assumption of pursuit by another agency. It used to say when, now it doesn't. It says officers will relinquish control of the pursuit when another agency has assumed the pursuit, unless the continued assistance of Lebanon Police Department is requested by the agency assuming the pursuit. Upon relinquishing control of the pursuit, the involved officers may proceed with supervisory approval to the termination point of the pursuit to assist in the investigation. The supervisor should coordinate such assistance with the assuming agency and obtain any information that is necessary for any reports. Then moving down towards the bottom of the page, it's under subsection 307.9.2. If you go down to the bottom 2 paragraphs, as soon as practical, a supervisor or the patrol captain should review a request for assistance from another agency. The patrol captain or supervisor, after considering the above factors, may decline to assist in or assume the other agency's pursuit. Assistance to a pursuing agency by officers of the department will conclude at the city limits, provided that the pursuing agency has sufficient assistance from other sources. Ongoing participation from the department may continue only until sufficient assistance is present. So we excluded such time and supervisors determine. So moving on, we can actually skip page 10. Page 11, about in the middle of the page, item B, the use of any lawful intervention technique is limited to use by properly trained officers as opposed to officers trained in the technique. Semantics, I believe. So then, item C, ramming a fleeing vehicle should be done only after other reasonable tactical means at the officer's disposal have been exhausted or would not be effective and immediate control is necessary. Ramming should be reserved for situations where there does not appear to be another reasonable alternative method. So we excluded may be considered lethal force. I think that's implied. Page 12, near the bottom, it's 307.11.1, post-stop guidelines. At the conclusion of a vehicle pursuit, At the conclusion of a vehicle pursuit, including after the use of pursuit intervention tactic, officers should follow the applicable procedures for conducting a high-risk traffic stop. We call those felony stops. Subsection 307.12, reporting requirements. If we go to item A, the primary pursuing officer shall complete appropriate crime arrest reports. Instead of support personnel, it's the primary pursuing officer. Then item B, the primary pursuing officer or supervisor shall complete the appropriate pursuit report. Once again, instead of the supplements to be to the crime arrest, we're taking that out of it. Last page, page 13, item D, most of the way towards the bottom. After receiving copies of reports, logs, and other pertinent information, the chief of police or the authorized designee shall conduct or assign the completion of a post-pursuit review as appropriate. It went from assistant chief to the chief of police does it, and so So we're excluding that, and then we're excluding primary emergency vehicle operations instructor. So that is all of the changes.
Okay. Any questions for Chief concerning that? Okay. I would entertain a motion then to amend the Lebanon Police Department Standard Operating Guidelines, policy change concerning pursuits as presented.
I'll make a motion when we approve the policy changes for our vehicle pursuits by the Lebanon Police Department.
Okay. We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Bill. All fair say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, those are approved. Thank you, Chief.
Just so you guys know, the state is working on a use of force one, so we'll be doing that later, once they get that approved.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Okay, next up will be a street closure request for Noble and Patterson Streets for utility connections. Kevin?
Thank you. This is associated with the Noble Street single-family residential development. Normally, projects, when they come through, include all the necessary permits and approvals needed for a project. But when this came through the ILP process, it did not anticipate road closures. They were planning on making these utility connections in Patterson, in Noble Street, under traffic, and they've since came back and said, we'd really like to close the street. Okay, we have a process to do that. Now that you're asking for a closure of the street that's not directly affected or directly attached to a permit, we'll need to go before Board of Works and request that closure. So again, no change in the design or utility connections associated with the project. They're just asking for permission to close the street. We are requiring them to post detour signage for the work, and we, as your inspectors and staff members, agree with this proposal and are respectfully asking for your permission, your approval to grant those street closure requests.
Do we know what the length of the closure request is?
1 day.
Oh, just 1 day. Okay. And what day is that? Do we know that, or to be determined?
I
didn't get the thing. Okay, here we go.
My apologies, I don't have it to memory, but I did send the correspondence to you.
So this says 1/16 through 1/19, so 3 days?
3 days total, 1 day each one, and then.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Okay.
That just says just for Noble Street, and then a week later, then that's Patterson Street. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and that's 3 days also.
Okay.
Okay.
Any questions for Kevin on that? Traffic, the road is fully closed or one lane's closed?
It will be fully closed, but
Fully
detour
closed.
routes will be signed and established.
Okay, very good. Any other questions? Okay. We'll entertain a motion then to approve that street closure request as presented.
I make a motion, we approve the street closure request as presented.
We have a motion approved as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alan. All those fair say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. That is approved. Thank you, Kevin. And next is secondary plat approval and surety acceptance for Cedar Ridge Section 2. This is also Kevin.
Yep, thank you very much. Standard procedure here, but Cedar Ridge Section 2 has been paved, and they're working on their final approvals and punch list repairs from the water, sanitary, and stormwater departments, and they have requested approval to record their secondary plat. Staff has reviewed the secondary plat and finds it acceptable. We have received sureties from them in accordance with the surety worksheet that was distributed to you. And at this time, again, find all these sureties, both performance and maintenance sureties, acceptable and appropriate. And we ask that you issue approval of the secondary plat and accept their sureties associated with the infrastructure.
Sorry, Kevin.
Sorry, associated with the infrastructure. So.
Any questions for Kevin on that? Alan?
Has nothing to do with the approval, but I can't remember, how many homes are in that addition?
Do you recall how many lots are in Section 2? Oh, in the total subdivision?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's around 110 or so.
Okay.
And it's broken up into, I think, 4 total sections? 5? 4 or 5, so.
So like 20-ish?
Roughly 20, 25,000 30. I think the first section was a little larger.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion, we approve the secondary plat approval and surety acceptance for Grand Communities LLC for Cedar Ridge Section 2.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alan. All those there say aye. Aye. Opposed? That is approved. Thank you, board. Okay, that concludes what I have for new business. Is there anything else from the board? Okay, we'll move on to claims. Would entertain a motion concerning the claims.
I make a motion, we approve the claims.
We have a motion to approve the claims. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Dick. All those there say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Claims are approved. Any announcements or discussion? General public comment? Okay, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Bill. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, we are adjourned. Our next Board of Works meeting will be January 23rd at 6:15 PM. City Council's up next.
All right.